Hello, my name is Regina Jetlib and I'm a WeWatch provider in Brantford, Brant. I've also been a registered ECE for almost 30 years, and in that time I have thrown out a lot of dried out markers. Back when I worked in center-based care, I had a lovely coworker, and one day she and I came up with a silly little rhyme about reminding the children to put the lids back on their markers. And we talked about listen for the snap when you close the marker cap. And that silly little rhyme spawned the idea to make this book. And now, without further ado, I'm going to read you the book that I wrote. This is called Why the Markers Cried by Regina Jetlib, illustrated by Shelley Patton Forster. Here's the cast of characters: Radiant Red, Blissful Blue, Orderly Orange, Yawning Yellow, Perky Purple, Grouchy Green, Panicky Pink, Brave Brown, Blustery Black, and Graceful Gray. Dedication. To capless markers everywhere, there is no need for despair. Markers need children to take care, keeping lids on so colors can flare. At the end of the school day, after everyone had gone away, the teachers and the girls and boys, the empty room held only toys, neatly stored on shelves and bins, tidied up with cheery grins. All was quiet, all was still, when suddenly a voice did shrill, "Oh help! Oh my! Oh no! Where did my cap go?" Radiant Red was in a flap, looking for her missing cap. She hopped here and she hopped there, but couldn't see it anywhere. "My cap is lost!" Radiant Red wailed. Her face was turning very pale. Perky Purple smiled. "Don't you worry, we will find your cap in a hurry." All the markers searched and hunted until, "There!" Graceful Gray grunted. Excited shouts rang through the room, but Radiant Red was still full of gloom. It was true, her cap was found, but was far from reach on the ground. In fact, all the lids were on the floor. "Gone forever!" Blustery Black roared. What's the problem, you might ask? Why was fetching their lids such a task? Well, markers do have many charms. They're stuck with two short legs and arms that sadly just aren't long enough. To reach the floor would be tough. The markers pondered their sad discovery, how best to plan their cap recovery. Orderly Orange stepped forward to say, "There must be something we can try today." "Nothing'll work," cut in Grouchy Green, grimacing down on the wretched scene. Yawning Yellow shouted, "We've got to try!" while all the markers wailed and cried. Blissful Blue declared, "I've thought of a perfect plan." "Let's hear it." Perky Purple smiled. Blissful Blue began. A long silence fell once the plan was explained. "That just might work," Radiant Red exclaimed. The plan was simple and delightfully easy, although it made the markers feel somewhat queasy. They had to jump first from table to chair, then to the floor, to the lids scattered there. All the brave markers jumped to the floor. Hopping was fun, it wasn't a chore. The markers were speedy, they moved very fast. Together they were with their lids at last. "Wait!" called Brave Brown, bursting their bubble. "We are still in a big pile of trouble." The markers and lids were together all right, but even trying their best, they just couldn't quite get their caps stuck back onto their heads. "Our arms are too short," Panicky Pink said. And so it was the very next day when the girls and boys came back to play, and the teacher asked the kids so smart, "What do you think? Should we make some art?" Suddenly all the children heaved a sigh, their markers from the floor nearly dry. "None of the markers have their lids," sadly announced one of the kids. Silence fell in the class for a long, long time, until one clever girl recited a rhyme. "We forgot to close their caps and didn't listen for the snaps. Their lids fell off, they were not tight, so now the colors are dull, not bright." The rest of the day was sad and dreary. Everyone felt slightly teary. The markers' tears are made of ink, you see, and lids on tight create rainbows pretty. There were no bright colors or pretty shades. There would be no more marker escapades. "Hey," said a boy, "we don't have to leave the markers like that." And quick as a wink, he matched each marker with their hat. You'll always have colors if you remember one trick. Push down hard on the lid until you hear the click. Joyous sounds rang all around. Not a lid was on the ground. The markers had no more to dread. Their caps sat snugly on their heads. The end, says Radiant Red. And Radiant Red would like everyone to hear how it sounds when you close the lid. Putting the lid back on, and my trick is to push it upside down and click. The end.